Hi, guys. So, we've been reading this legend, this story from, or called Why the Sea is Salty. And we're reading it because we want to learn about what tall tales and legends are and why they're important. Now, we might be thinking, well, what's so important about learning about a story that's fiction, that's not real? It's kind of like almost like a fairy tale. You got this giant in the who's reaching across to a different island, and people are coming across getting salt, and then the sea becomes salty, and obviously it's not real. And what could we possibly learn from a silly story like that, right? That's what legends and tall tales are. They're kind of silly. They can be kind of fun to read, but the reason why we do use them is because we can learn from them. And what we want to learn is we want to learn a lesson or a theme from it. And many legends and stories are very popular, and people read them to their children and pass them down, and they've survived the test of time. They survived a lot longer than fictional stories that you guys might read in books. So we're going to practice identifying the theme from a story and or a tall tale. And you may have heard of this one. This is called The Hare and the Tortoise. And this is an old one. Aesop. This is Aesop's Fables. This is a type of tall tale. So the hare and the tortoise is like a rabbit and a turtle. So a hare was making fun of the tortoise one day for being so slow. "Do you ever get anywhere?" he asked with a mocking laugh. "Yes," replied the tortoise, "and I get there sooner than you think. I'll run you a race and prove it." The hare was much amused at the idea of running a race with the tortoise, but for the fun of the thing, he agreed. So the fox, who had consented to act as judge, marked the distance and started the runners off. The hare was soon far out of sight, and to make the tortoise feel very deeply how ridiculous it was for him to try a race with the hare, he lay down beside the course to take a nap until the tortoise should catch up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly but steadily, and after a time passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare slept on very peacefully, and when at last he did wake up, the tortoise was near the goal, or the finish line. The hare now ran his swiftest, but he could not overtake the tortoise in time. All right, so I think you guys know the story. You may have heard it before. It says here the race is not always to the swift, or like the ones who are the fastest. So, we always think of a race like, yeah, well, the fastest person always wins. Well, yeah, the rabbit might be the fastest one, or the hare, but it has to do with more than just being fast. So we can see that this rabbit, right, he was being very cocky, very overconfident, and he was making fun of the tortoise. The tortoise, he has a different attitude, right? He's going to be, I'm just going to keep going, keep going. So you may have heard the phrase "slow and steady wins the race." So that counters this one here. This is saying the race is not always to the swift or the fastest. We could also say "slow and steady wins the race." Not always true, right? You could be steady and slow, but you could also be steady and fast. But I think it has to do with um, the attitude that you have here. So let's try and prove it in the text. Okay. So the hare was soon far out of sight. So right, this rabbit, he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's running so fast you can't even see him. Okay? But what does the hare do? Right? He wants to mock the turtle, right? So he lays down beside the course to take a nap until right. Was he really sleepy? No, right? He wanted to make the tortoise feel very deeply ridiculous. So he wanted to make him feel silly and say, "Oh, I'm going to take a nap and still beat you," right? Well, what did the turtle do? Turtle kept going slowly but steadily, and after a time passed, he passes the hare. So you can see here that the tortoise, he just kept being steady. And I would focus more on just being steady here, right? Had the hare been steady, right, steadily fast, he probably would have won. But the tortoise, he kept going. He didn't stop. And we read this and we learn about this to apply to our own lives, right? We run the race of life. We run the race in school, where you guys got a lot of schooling to do. But if you keep going, right, you're going to win the race.